Hello everyone, welcome to my crafty chit chat and slow stitching video. And today I'm going to do something slightly different. We will be continuing on with these blocks, but not today. I wanted to share with you how I have decided to sew these blocks together. So the best way for me to show that is to pull out a journal that I have used this technique, or whatever you want to call it, to hold the pages together. And then I figured, well, if I'm going to show you this, which a lot of you should remember this, because it wasn't that long ago that we finished this one. But, and this was a Just Because book, and I have two other Just Because books. And if you don't know about the Just Because books, you can check out Susan Taylor Brown here on YouTube. And yeah, and that's where I heard it from, and she works on them from time to time herself. And anyway, so I figure, well, I'm going to pull out a few other journals and I'll just go through them kind of quickly. But first I want to show you how I'm going to, put this journal together using these. But then I figured, well, I know some people like wall hangings, and I do as well. And so after I share these, I'm going to take you into my living room to show you my wall hangings, my slow stitch wall hangings in the living room. And then I end up showing you like all the stuff that I worked on, paintings and just everything. And all in my living room. And then I come back here into my craft room and show you what I have in here as well. But the purpose of that was to show you the slow stitch wall hangings, to maybe give some of you an idea. So let's go ahead and get started with this journal. So this was a Just Because book that we worked on, I don't know, just a few months ago. And I just loved working on this book. But again, when I was working on it, I wasn't sure how I was going to, sew it together into a journal. So what I ended up doing, and I mentioned this in last Monday's video for the 3.5-inch squares, is I sewed a piece of fabric on the left side where I could sew the 2 pages together, and I would sew that extra piece on the one side. So you can see it like here. It's here. Isn't this cool? This was a lot of fun to work on. Do you find sometimes that, this is one of my favorite pages, do you find sometimes when you go back to look at things, you like them better than when you were working on them? Yeah. And then here. So this is probably a really good way to show you. So this, let me turn it back this way. So this green fabric was the base, right? That was my block to sew onto. And then I sewed that block using these cross stitches onto the blue, which is the additional piece, and I sewed all of them together. I sewed all of these pieces together, and that's what's making the book. So that's basically, I guess you would call that my spine, but it's just extra fabric sewn onto the end of each page. So that's what I'm going to do with my 3.5 by 3.5. But I figure, well, let me just do a quick little share here of, this was my second Just Because book. This was my third one. And this was my first, but I guess I'm going backwards. So this one was a black and white with a pop of pink. And it was just, oh, it was just such a blast to work on. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And the purpose of the Just Because books are, you do it just because, whatever you feel like doing. Like maybe whatever you have sitting on your desk, or just pieces that maybe you haven't used and you wanted to use. You know, you could do a theme like black and white. And I always like to, if, you know, add a little bit of pink. But this was a really fun journal to do, and it's sewn. The cover of it is a piece of burlap. Isn't that pretty? Just super pretty. This, I think, was a cluster. I'm pretty sure this back piece right here was a cluster. And a little bit of lace on the edges. And then this piece here, well, there's some eyelash trim I put under it, but this piece here was a really gaudy piece that I got from, I don't know, I ordered fabrics or something from somewhere, and that came with it, and I just was never able to use it. And yeah, so it worked out perfectly. It worked out perfectly. I'm not tying this well at all, but there you go. This was my first Just Because book. I have like even wooden flowers on here. I mean, there's just everything, and the kitchen sink is on this front of this journal. There just is. There's just everything. There's some sari silk, flowers, sequins, couching, cross stitches, French knots, some laces, just stuff. And I used, for the base of this one, this was a tea-dyed piece of fabric. I think it started out kind of like on the pinkish side, but after I tea-dyed it. And I did this in February of 2022. You know, having a theme is good for me. You know, it's just something that is continuous through all of the pages, or at least something like, you know, oh, I'm going to use up flowers, or I'm going to use up a certain fabric, or something like that. These were fun. These are the flowers. These are the stems. Yep. So that's that one. And then I'll share this with you, and then I will take you into my living room. This is my journal for the first Roxy Journal Stitchery project, and I had no idea what I was doing. I never stitched before, or, you know, I might have started stitching, slow stitching before this, but you know, I didn't know any of the stitches. I didn't know what they were called or how to do them or anything. So this was, this taught me a tremendous amount. You know, check out like the laces on the edge there. Oh, just, oh, you know, and again, I haven't looked at this in probably, I want to say, a year. And I just look at it and it's like, gosh, did I do this? I mean, it's nothing special. You know, I don't do a lot of like small embroidery or anything like that. But just, I guess the composition and the colors and the pieces that are used. And again, with all the pretty laces on the edging. Like, look at how pretty this all is. Very, very shabby chic looking. This, to me, is such a gorgeous page. Did I do that? Oh, and then these are the sample stitches. The sampler pages. Yeah, so that was my first one. That would have been from January through June of 2022. Yes. So, and this one, what I did the blocks individually, and then I had a long piece of fabric. The fabric was this size for my pages, and then I sewed these on, and then you just turn it over and you have your page in your book. So that was the kind of page that I did in here. And a lot of people would sew this into the actual cover of the journal, but I didn't. I just left it the way that it was, and I like it just like this. I didn't want to have any stitches on the outside cover. This is one of my favorite fabrics. It's I got it at my local fabric store, in the mom and pop store, and it's actually a Christmas fabric, but you can get away with it not being Christmas. And it has a little bit of a shimmer to it, and I love the colors. So, and this was some seam binding that I dyed. Yeah, so those are some of my slow stitch journals. And so what we'll do now is I'll take you into my living room, and then we'll come back here into my craft room, and I just want to share with you to hopefully, like I said, give you ideas on how to do certain things. So like this here, I use the same steps as I did for this one for the pages. So I would work on the blocks and then sew the blocks onto, so like the base of this page here would be one long piece. I would sew the blocks onto it and then fold it in half, and you have your pages. This one I did sew the seam, so these pages are sewn in. So yep, so just some different ideas. And now let's check out my slow stitch wall hangings. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so now we are in my living room, and it's not super bright in here, so I had to turn on all my lights. But the reason to come in here was to show you my slow stitched wall hangings. And so one is over here, then I have 3 over here. And what I'll probably do, since we're here, is show you the rest of the other artwork that I have worked on. So we'll start with this little cluster over here. So this is about a 12 by 12 linen napkin that I sewed all kinds of fun stuff onto. I'll just kind of hang there for a minute, but you can see buttons and metal pieces and pearls and flowers and lace and tons of fabric. And then back in the day, probably, I don't remember what year, maybe 2015, 2016, I was into drawing faces. So you're going to see a lot of faces in this room. Let me see if I can get the glare off. Let me go this way. Okay, so this one right here, like when I draw faces, I like to have big features and big hair and that kind of, I don't know, I guess I like to go too extreme and almost make it more whimsical than it. I mean, my faces are not, that I draw, are not realistic looking by any means, and that's the look I'm going for. So she was a lot of fun to work on. Then this one up here, oh, look at the glare. Let me go this way. So you can see with the big eyes and just the shape of her face. That one is acrylic paint. That's acrylic paint. This one was charcoal. Then these over here, I actually They were one of the prompts from Nina Ribena back in the day on tags, and those are acrylic paints. And I just like the way they turned out so much, I put them in a frame long ago, long ago. These two pieces I have shared with you before. Those are mixed media pieces. All right, so this cluster over here has 3 wall hangings, and this long one to the left was one that we worked on not long ago, and I ended up hanging it in here. I still want to put, I have a dowel in there. I want to put string and attach it, you know, let it hang off of the string or the twine or whatever I use. Yeah, so I haven't done that yet, but at least it's on the wall. And then these are 2 other 12 by 12 inch wall hangings, slow stitch wall hangings. And then there's another face. And then this is a mixed media piece. This is one of my first mixed media collage pieces that I ever worked on. This was from February of 2014. I remember doing that. It was, and that's on a canvas. That was a lot of fun. So I'm going to move my chair, hopefully with my leg, and let me see if I can take you closer. So again, you're going to see a lot. It was just all about filling up all of the space with interesting pieces. And again, these are about 12 by 12, hung up on a dowel. Let me see if I can get this one. This is one of my favorites because I love the colors. Very fall looking. I probably did it in the fall last year. And then this is the one that we worked on together on my Monday videos where I did 6, I think they were like 5 by 7 blocks, and I wanted them to all be very different, but yeah, but you'll see like the same color, so a lot of brown, some yellow, a little bit of green. Yep. So that's where that one ended up. I was going to end up in my craft room, but I thought it would look good right there. This is the first face that I ever drew, and yeah, I sprayed down some, I think it was Dilution spray. I don't know what kind of spray, but some spray. And then I drew on top of it. That was fun. And then just a little mixed media piece with my son in there. And then over here are 3 mixed media pieces. This is a big canvas piece over here. And then these 2 pieces are on probably mixed media paper. So this one says worship, and you can see all the fun stuff on it, a lot of pastes and everything on it. And this one, it's hard to see the word praise, but if you look here going down, it says praise. And again, a lot of pastes and metal and all kinds of fun stuff. And then there is this piece, I'll go in here, that's the middle, obviously, of the cross. I had crackle paste going on there. Yep, so there's that one. And then these are just stuff. And then over here is where I have, well, I collect snowmen. So I have snowmen up all year, plus some Christmas I have up all year. Like those plates were from my mother's, those salt and pepper, either my grandparents or my aunt. But yeah, so over here on this, what kind of a rack is it called? I forget. Some sort of a rack. Baking rack, I think. And so I have a lot of watercolors over here that I worked on gosh, I want to say 2 years ago. Let me see if I have a date. This one was, yep, in 2020. So, yeah, this one was done at the end of 2022. I remember that. Sorry, you can't see everything real well, but I enjoy looking at them, and so that's why I have them out. Yep, and this is actually one of my favorites right here. That was a lot of fun. And you can see I have like a lot of milk glass around, which was my mother's. Yep. And then more snowmen. Over here, this is actually a slow stitch wall hanging. And yep, that was part of an open collaboration. I'll try to go closer. Yep, and that was intentional. The piece of fabric I used for the block was, well, it had a chunk missing out of it, but I think it brings character to the piece. I don't know, that's just me. This was charcoal. I was fooling around one day. That was charcoal. That was done in 2019. This piece here, this is on deli paper. It's acrylic paints on deli paper that I then put onto a canvas. I just put the deli paper over it, and I forget how I attached it, staples, glue, whatever. And that I also made with Nina Ribena years ago, and I loved it so much that I ended up hanging it on my wall. Yeah, crazy, right? And then this is a mixed media piece, a little one. And that's just a page from some mixed media journal. And then this lady I drew, and that was in 2018. Yep. So, you know, I like to do a lot of different things. This right here is stitched, but I bought it at like some craft fair or something, but I had loved it. So then that's about it. Oh, and then, yeah, over here in the corner, that is a altered frame for a family photo and a picture of Jesus. But that's it in here. So now I'm going to take you over into my craft room and show you what I have hanging in there. So we are now in my craft room, and I'm going to show you the very first slow stitch wall hanging that I ever did, and it was this one right here. I want to make sure I stay in focus, and yep, so there it is. And this was the first one ever. So that was a lot of fun. This one over here, this I think is one of my prettier wall hangings. Yeah, it just has a lot going on. It's hard to explain everything that's on all of the wall hangings because I put a good amount of stuff on them. Yep, so there's that one. Over here, I have a couple of junk journals that I worked on. That was an acrylic painting, more watercolors that I worked on. Let's see, over here I have December daily stuff, and then I just have a bunch of stuff, like mixed media stuff. I have some Bible journaling stuff. Yep. And over here is another altered frame, some watercolor paintings. This was another watercolor painting that I did of poppies. And I'll just kind of step back and just do a real quick little overview. This is my work area. I have lights on. Even though it's the middle of the day, I do have my lights on so you can see I have my current project there. Yeah, I have some planner stuff over there. More goodies over here. Yeah, I have everything from my charcoals to washi tape to, I don't know, books, different pieces of stuff for journals, and this is filled with like jelly printed papers. I have yarns and fabric. I have some satin ribbon and thread that I used for sewing. And then over here, this is another little area. So this over here is a slow stitch wall hanging. It's about 18 inches long. And this one is one of my more basic pieces. There's not like any pearls or buttons or metal pieces on it, but it was a lot of fun. This is a watercolor. It's my granddaughter. This is an old Chinese checkers board. Over here, this I did not do. That is a piece from Lizzie Love from years ago, and I really enjoyed her art. I'm sure I still would. I haven't checked her out in a while though. This piece right here is sewn. It's embroidered, but I bought that on Etsy from a lady in Poland. Then these two slow stitch pieces here. This was my Roxy snippet roll that I never finished. And this was an older piece that I did. And I just put all kinds of fun stuff on it. So, you know, don't be afraid or don't fear that you don't have stuff to use. You can use anything and everything on your pieces. Just have fun. That's all I can say. Up here, I have just a few more watercolor, and that's it. So it takes us back to the beginning. So that is it. Well, I hope that you enjoyed seeing my art and my slow stitch pieces. And it's something a little different. I will be back next week. We're going to go ahead and work on this block. Then I have two more. Then we're going to put our book together. And yeah, let me know what piece you liked the most. Whether it was a slow stitch piece or painting or mixed media or whatever. What piece that I worked on really popped out to you? I would love to know. You know, I don't know. I think it'd be fun just to get a feel for what everybody else found interesting. So that's it. So I'll see you next Monday. Have a blessed week. Bye-bye, everybody.